good evening, or afternoon, or morning, or any of the above for where you're at. Welcome to the Ranking the Retros Roundtable, episode 5, where we rate a bunch of NES games against each other and see which ones are crappier than others. We are starting with all of the black box games, the launch games of the NES, which, as we're finding out, don't really hold up to the test of time all that well. This episode, we will be doing volleyball. You know what? Before I start with the episode or the games, why don't I introduce you guys? That would be more polite. So, yeah, let's just go in order on Discord because that's the way I have it. We have Dan,
Hello.
we have Sammy,
Aloha.
and we have Jerry.
Hey.
You gotta do that again. Do it the crusty way if you're gonna say hey.
No, I'm not.
Okay, fine. Anyway, we will be doing Volleyball, Gumshoe, and Urban Champion this episode. 3 games that were fairly late releases for black box games as they come. As we did last time, we started the episode off with a little bit of trivia. I am going to ask 5 questions. Whoever answers it correctly gains a point. Still figuring out what the points are actually going to do, but I have an idea that maybe we'll have the winner pick the games for the episodes once we're out of the black box, but it's still pondering up in my noodle.
I'm sorry, what?
You heard me. I was waiting for a reaction. So, I will ask some questions. If you know the answer, feel free to yell it out. If it's a numerical answer, whoever is closest will get the point. Ties are allowed.
Oh.
All right.
I will wear a tie next time.
Ooh. I do not own a tie. Actually, I do own a tie. But God, it
Not a
takes me
single.
I do.
Okay.
I do. It just takes me like an hour and a half to tie it. So
I figured you owned a
Clip-on.
clip-on, bro.
Yeah,
I
get
do
the
have a clip-on
clip-on.
too. I do have clip-ons for emergencies. I can't even
So
tell you the last time
every time you need a tie, it's an emergency. Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
pretty much.
Yeah, just perfect the wins or not, you'll be golden. Don't worry about it. It's easy.
Question number 1. In what year did volleyball become an Olympic sport?
What? What year?
Oh, yes, and the trivia questions are based semi on the games that we are playing, either in theme or based on the game itself. So yeah, what year did volleyball become an Olympic sport?
Do we get multiple choice or do you just
Nope.
spout out a year?
Just spout out an answer.
How long have the Olympics been around for?
A very long time.
I don't. 1960. That's my answer.
Okay. Anybody else want to hazard a guess?
1975.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sammy, what do you think?
I really don't have a clue, but I'll go in the other direction and I'll say 1944.
Okay.
Okay.
The year that volleyball became an Olympic sport was 1964. Dan,
Woo!
you were very close.
Price is Right rules. I win.
Well, I mean, you'd be closer regardless. Next one is multiple choice.
Okay, good.
Which of these buildings do you not fight in front of in Urban Champion? Sushi bar, snack bar, discount shop, or bookstore?
I'm going to say bookstore.
Okay. Anybody else want to take a guess?
The discount shop? I don't know if I don't remember seeing that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
go
don't
discount
remember.
shop.
Discount? Okay.
Well, I have to be different. I don't remember sushi bar, so I'll say sushi bar.
Okay. It is the sushi bar.
Nice. Okay.
How many Zapper games were officially released for the NES?
There's that trick word officially, as if I might know how many Zapper games were unofficially released. I just don't know how many were officially released.
There were some unlicensed ones, so
Oh,
that's
I'm
why I
sure.
said officially.
So we're only
Well-
taking into consideration official NES games.
Correct. That had that nice little Nintendo seal of approval on it.
I'm going to say 5.
5? Okay.
I feel like it's more than that. Yeah, it could
Probably.
also
I'll
be.
say-
I'm gonna say 15.
Okay.
I'll say 11.
Okay.
Dan, again, very close.
What was it?
16.
6. God damn it.
Off by 1.
The next
Man.
one I'm getting on point. It's only natural at this point. I'm off 2, off 1. It's got to be on point.
All right, question number 4. William G. Morgan invented volleyball in what year?
All right.
Man, didn't we already have a volleyball question? What are you doing?
We did, but we only have 3 games. I'm not going to be able to have 5 questions on 5 different games.
I don't. How long has volleyball been around?
Volleyball's really old. They definitely played volleyball like in the 1910s and 20s.
1910s and 20s.
I've definitely seen pictures of volleyball from that era. So I'll say, I don't know. I'll say 1900, round number.
1900. Okay.
1905.
I'm gonna go the opposite way then. I'm gonna go 1895.
Dan,
No!
Don't say
dead
it.
on.
No way!
Dead on. 1895.
Dude, that's creepy.
This is sad.
That's creepy. You called it and you actually did. Okay, that's a little.
Had you not done the 5 above, I wouldn't have gone 5 back. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm surprised he didn't do the price right 1.
Yeah, technically would have won.
Question number 5, and this is a little bit of a, I guess, foreshadowing for one of the games of this episode.
Okay.
Out of 5,
Mhm.
what average score did Nintendo Power give Urban Champion in its January and February 1990 issue?
Is this a whole number?
Yes, we'll go whole number.
Okay. Out of 5?
Out of 5. What average score did Nintendo Power give Urban Champion in its January and February 1990 issue?
Man, that game was really fun. But I feel like this is a trick question. And the number's going to be low.
I like how you guys are letting Dan answer this one first.
I'm going to say 4.
4? Okay.
I've been kicking 2 numbers around in my head, so I have to decide as to which one I'm going to settle on here. I'm going to say 3.
3? All right. Sammy, what are you thinking? Oh, God, did we lose Sammy?
Did we? We might have.
I think we might have.
I think we might have lost him.
Unless he went in the time machine to go back to when.
I mean, he
out
did
of
say
this.
something last episode where he showed his true age. I don't
Right.
remember what it was anymore. All I remember is he went on a tirade about Swedish fish.
They're delicious.
They are delicious, but apparently he does not agree.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hot take.
I
Yeah,
know.
it was. All right, we'll just move on then. The actual answer is 2.
God dang it.
So, Jerry, you were closer. So the 4 scores that they gave it were 2.5, 2.5, 1.5, and 1.5. So out of all those, though, Dan, you had 3 points. You had 3 of those questions right.
Woo.
And Jerry, you had 1. And Sammy also had 1.
So is it a 3-way tie right now?
Yeah, it's pretty much a 3-way tie. Everybody has 3
Oh.
points. Nice. Dan catching up in 1 episode.
Love it.
All right, so let's move on. Now that the questions are all done with, let's move on to the first game, which is Gumshoe, released in June of 1986 on the US. It is a Zapper game, and the first thing I noticed about this game is how brutally difficult it is.
Bro, there's games that are good difficult. You know what I mean? It's challenging, but you still have fun. This game, the difficulty, I think, was its weakness.
Yes, I agree with that because I actually enjoyed the game for how far I was able to get. But God, it's so difficult. It doesn't help that the Zapper's not the most accurate accessory in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot play it with a controller, which I feel would have been fun. You know, if you could just like manually jump or anything like that. Maybe use the controller to jump and then use the Zapper to shoot everything. but you have to use the zapper for everything.
You do.
Let me just set the stage for this game real quick before we really dive into it. So you play as a detective who I believe his daughter's kidnapped. And what you have to do is find a bunch of gems for the bad guy. Gumshoe himself, I don't remember his name. I wrote it down, and of course, I don't know where I put it. But he moves on his own. It's an auto-scrolling game, and it's 2D. As he's walking around, things are flying at him, any kind of hazards. You have like bottles coming in from off screen. You have like a mob car coming off from off screen, the opposite side. You have boulders falling on you. Basically, what you do is you shoot the hazards and you shoot the character himself to jump, which you need to do to collect balloons because balloons give you more ammo. From what I understand, you can never really run out of ammo, but you cannot. There's something you can't do when you're out of ammo. I don't remember what it is. But either way, this game is so challenging. Does anybody want to jump into this one before I start going on a tirade?
All I say is that while the game did have a few positives, the biggest drawback was the difficulty, for me at least. And it was just not it. And this game was also, I don't know about you guys, but this game also had a problem where it just kept flashing every time I used any type of movement, any type of zapping of the obstacles. It's just this white flash always happens. So I don't know if I downloaded the wrong game, like the wrong file version.
Zapper works. Basically, every time you click that zapper, it flashes the screen. So if you have epilepsy, you probably want to stay away from this game because you will be shooting, I'd say, more than you do in like Duck Hunt or Wild Gunman.
Yeah, this game, I couldn't play because of the whole flashing light thing.
Yeah. What did Sammy or Jerry, what did you guys think of this one?
Well, as I was saying last week, I didn't grow up playing these games, and so for a lot of them, I don't have a good intuition, and so I found this one hard, but at least I felt like I understood it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was worth something to me. On a small tangent, I don't know if any of you follow the subreddit. They did the math.
No.
But,
Nope.
Yeah, so it's basically people who are doing complicated math to answer simple questions. And one of the things that this game reminded me of was a question I saw there not too long ago. And the question was something like, how hard would you have to slap a chicken to get it up to edible temperature instantly? And so, of course, when you like hitting the birds and they're turning into cooked chickens, it made me think of that subreddit.
I don't even know where to go from.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I mean, I'm glad you brought up the chickens because you almost need to do that because it does give you an extra hit, which is right before the boulder area. Has anyone beat level 1?
No.
Nope.
I couldn't either. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I got to the boulders, and that's as far as I could go. I don't know about you guys. I might have spent more time in this game than all the other games combined. I probably played this game for about 3-4 hours, just trying to beat the first level, and I could not do it. Once you get to those boulders, like you just cannot react fast enough to taking them out.
I never even got to that point really, but I mean, I liked it. It was difficult, as Dan said. Like, it definitely was, but I liked it for that reason. And I kind of ignored the flashing, which is kind of odd, but I'm usually sensitive to that stuff. But for some reason, I could block it out enough to play it. But yeah, it's an interesting. I wish I could have played this with a zapper. I'll say that. Like in its true form as it was meant to be played. I didn't even, obviously, like a lot of these, I didn't know this existed back then. So I had a zapper, but didn't know about this.
Right. I was the same way. And I'm the same way. I really, really tried to like this game. Probably why I spent so much time on it. I really liked the idea of basically, I'm guessing you're supposed to be a sniper that's trying to help him out. I guess you're the worst sniper ever because you can't keep your guy safe. And also, I don't know how you shoot a detective to make him jump. I don't get that. But it's almost like those old like westerns where you have the guys like, let's make you dance, start shooting your feet, and they start doing the little jig. That's what I kind of reminds me of.
Damn, Scarman.
Yeah, that's not a bad bad analogy. Yeah.
I like the idea of collecting ammo. I mean, it's kind of weird that you get them from balloons of all things. Another thing I really liked about this game were the graphics. For an early game, the graphics are actually kind of crisp. Like when you first start, you see like the little silhouette of the stage, and your guy just comes like bouncing out, and then he just like jogs down like there's nothing going on. Just a bunch of bottles flying at him, chickens from the air, mob cars trying to run him over.
Absolute chaos in the truest sense of the word.
Yeah. He's only being shot in the ass to make him jump. It's a really bonkers kind of game, which is why I really wanted to like it. It's just that difficulty just makes it hard to really keep playing.
And it just made me really thankful that I wasn't that guy.
What, that didn't like it?
No, just to have to go through all the stuff. I mean, everything you just said. Like, imagine living life like that. It's very stressful.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think we pretty much said all that we can say about this one. I mean,
yeah, I don't.
It's really challenging. Like, it's one of those games you want to like, but it's just the difficulty just overshadows everything.
And they also had the squares, correct, right? They had the squares where the skulls were on them, like, and if you were trying to get balloons, and some of those were placed in such a way that, like, if you hit that, you die.
Yeah.
And there was a couple times where I literally floated right down on top of one of them, or jumped up and hit one, like as if it wasn't difficult enough.
Yeah, it's like you try shooting your guy and you just keep missing, and it's like, oh crap. Ah!
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Before we get into the ranking of it, I have one little tidbit. When I was doing a little bit of research on, when I was doing the research on how many official games there were for the Zapper, I came across an article by Paste Magazine. They rated Gumshoe the 4th best Zapper game.
Yeah, we need to have a conversation on who did that.
It's not a terrible game when you compare it to other Zapper games. It's just that difficulty. There's no getting around it.
Yeah, there's not. But then again, it could be difficult because I didn't use a Zapper. It would have been nice.
Yeah, none of us were able to, unfortunately. It's for a lot of these games, we're going to have to resort to the dreaded E word because, a lot of us aren't going to have the games to share amongst each other. And again, with Zapper games, you have to have a CRT TV. Those aren't exactly easy to come by anymore. So it is hard to play on legitimate hardware. But I can only imagine it being easier with a mouse, but it's not. I couldn't even imagine playing this with a Zapper.
Yeah,
and I wanted to get past the first level too, because as I was watching the demo for the game, there's some pretty cool looking areas, like a jungle that you run through. I think there's a cave. I wanted to see those areas. It's just I couldn't do it.
Yeah, could you imagine, just putting yourself in your shoes for a minute, younger you, and you play Duck Hunt. Be really careful how you piece those words together. But could you imagine that game in and of itself, if you're doing clay shooting or you're going for the ducks, that's one thing. If you were playing this with a Zapper, your finger would get tired in really short order because you're constantly having to fire the Zapper. That other game is spaced out to some degree, right? This is constant. I don't know that I could sit there and shoot the whole time like that. Every time you have to jump.
You could ignore a lot of the balloons and get by without it. You kind of want the balloons because you want the ammo, but once you get to the boulders, it just gets crazy. It's absolutely insane. They just keep falling, and there's no protection whatsoever, unless you grab one of the what's it called, the potions from the chickens. which I've already missed a few of those too, because when I shot them, it was too far ahead of me. I couldn't collect it. You can't speed up your guy. Anybody have any final words on this, or you guys want to rate it? We can move on.
Let's rate it.
All right. What are you guys thinking on this one?
Above Donkey Kong Jr. math, for sure.
Okay. Do you want me to throw out my 2 cents?
Right.
I will say that when I was going through these games, when I was playing them, I spent a good 5-10 minutes trying to figure out where to rank these, because all 3 of these games were very difficult for me to place on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I would put it between Gyromite and Wild Gunman. I do enjoyed it a little bit more in Wild Gunman. Wild Gunman got a little boring for me. Whereas this, like, I kept wanting to keep going. I kept wanting to try. But the difficulty for me just kind of, I guess, shunts its growth. If you want to say it that way.
Fancy.
I don't think I can put it any higher than that.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. What are you thinking?
I don't know if I want to say it now.
No, you gotta say it. You gotta say it.
I enjoyed this, and the first thing I did when I was looking at the rankings with respect to this was, again, being very mindful of the 3 other Zapper games on the list. But more specifically, though, I looked at Gyromite and Wild Gunman, and I actually would put it between Wrecking Crew and Ice Climber. I enjoyed this more than Ice Climber.
Okay.
I enjoyed it more than those other 2 mentioned Zapper games. Certainly won't overtake Duck Hunt in that case at all, but that's where I would personally place it.
I agree with Jers. I thought that Ice Climber was really hard as well, but between the 2, I was willing to try this for a lot longer.
Ice Climber to me was harder for the wrong reasons, with the really terrible fluidity of the game. Like, that to me was a difficulty that didn't need to be there, and that is why, in this case, I didn't feel that way about Gumshoe. It played well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was challenging enough to me that I liked it, to where, like I said, Ice Climber to me was difficult for a different reason, for a more negative one, and that's why I would put it above it, for what it's worth.
I'm not hating that, because, again, I do enjoy the game. I just originally wasn't sure if I wanted to go that high with it, just because of the challenge level.
I was okay with going that high.
Okay, I'm fine with that too. So, yeah, between Wrecking Crew and Ice Climber. So basically, it's going to be number 7 on the list. Yeah, I guess in retrospect, the way you can kind of put it is it's difficult, but that just means you're going to be spending probably more time playing the game in order to get anywhere.
Like you said, you spent 3 or 4 hours playing it. You were attempting to beat level 1, as was I. And that's the same thing. I kept finding myself going back to this one, trying to get past level 1. Whereas, like I said, with Ice Climber, it was like, just, I need to stop playing this I don't enjoy this, There were just reasons why. But, like I said, different meanings of difficulty. So
no, that's totally fair. I'm fine with where we're placing it. Again, I did enjoy the game. So, all right. Any parting thoughts for Gumshoe? That was actually kind of easy.
No.
Cool. All right. Moving on. Game number 2 for episode 5. Urban Champion, a beat-em-up game that was released also in June of 1986. This was an interesting game. It was one of the first, I guess you could say, fighting games. So one-on-one fighter where you're trying to push a guy down a sewer. I don't even know if I could sum it up any easier than that.
No, I pretty much hits the nail on the head.
Who wants to start with their thoughts on this one?
Who was
Sammy,
the
what
lady
do
with
you
the
think?
confetti?
What's that?
Who was the lady with the confetti? What was her deal?
It's
Yeah.
not like she was really playing sides either, because she would throw the confetti regardless on who won. She just wanted to throw that confetti.
That was very peculiar. I think
Yeah, go ahead, Sammy.
she's the one we need to call the cops on. I think more so than the fighters. She's obviously ill.
And she's littering.
Oh, that's true too.
And so, well, I guess so is the guy who's throwing flower pots at you.
Oh
True.
yeah.
This is a very hostile town.
I had fun with this game, but then again, I am a person that plays fighting games pretty regularly. So like I had some fun with this. It wasn't like the best, but it was fun.
And
It's like one of those games that you just pick up in the afternoon, play a little bit, and then move on with your day.
I really liked the part how with the police interrupting the fights too. That was a nice touch. I did like that. It was annoying at times, but I also was like, when it first happened, I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay.
It usually frustrated me more than anything, because it's usually when I'm beating up the other guy and then the cop shows up and it like resets the match. It's like, come on, I was about ready to win this round.
Don't tell me that cop didn't see that going on as he was coming down the road either. Yeah.
It's like, hey, buckos, knock it off. I personally did not like this game. I think if it would have had more moves to it instead of just an upper and lower hit and then upper and lower block, it would have been a little bit more fun. I get it's a time that it was released, but I just found this game so boring.
It was
I'm not gonna lie.
Real button masher for me.
Mm.
And I think it would have been more fun playing against somebody. You know,
I would agree with that. I feel like if I was beating up, say, Jerry, or he was beating me up, it might be more fun. But like single player, I made it to like round 12, and I was surprised I made it that far.
Dang.
And that was after I made it that far after, I don't know, about an hour or two.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just so bored playing it. I'm not gonna lie. I've played this game before years ago, and I didn't like it then either, to be perfectly honest. I just felt like it's not deep enough. I get it. It was released in 1986, and I'm not the biggest fighting game guy either.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand why Dan likes it. I guess the lack of moves really sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, it's pretty basic.
Like it's basic. It's a simplistic game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely lacks depth for sure. Again, though, obviously, like you said, we got to be mindful of the time, and I get it. But
it is pretty satisfying when you punch a guy and he rolls down into the sewer. But what irritated me the most is I feel like I never really punched my opponent and he rolled around. I felt like every time that my opponent punched me, I rolled backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'd take like 2 steps forward and I'd start rolling backwards like a boulder going downhill on an icy road. And then like there'd be times where again I'd be beating the guy up, I'd be close to winning the round, and in order to win you have to basically win 3 rounds. And the guy would be like teetering on the edge of the sewer, and then the cop would show up. And basically both characters would just like run to the opposite corners, look around like nothing's going on. None of them are beaten into a pulp or anything. There's not blood all over the street or anything. And then they just saunter back to the middle of the building and just start pummeling each other all over again. And a lot of times when that happened, I lost the round anyway because I couldn't get that momentum back again. I don't know. It's like, to me, this is not Punch-Out.
No, it isn't.
I actually wrote a note here. Punch-Out, this is not.
I'm actually rethinking where I want to rank this now.
Are we? Is that really all we have to talk about? I mean, there really isn't much to the game.
There is it. Like I said, it's simple. You just keep it moving. You throw some punches. I mean, you could make it like better, like time your punches, I guess, if you want to really give yourself a challenge. But
let's be honest. This is a prime example of the problem is really with the majority of these black box games. They're too simple. They lack any real depth. There's no replay value in a lot of these. it's like, cool, okay, I can say I played it, and I'm going to move on. Like this one. I'm not going to revisit this. So, like, this is unfortunately the trend with these. A lot of these.
Did anybody have like a winning strategy that worked for them? Like me personally, I just started mashing up and down. Like I'd throw like 3 punches up, 3 punches down, and repeat. I'm just curious to know if I'm just doing things wrong or if someone had a better strategy. Or
Yeah, I didn't have a strategy per se, but I did find that the more scotch I drank, the less I cared. And that
That's
really
what I'm
increased
doing
my
wrong.
enjoyment.
I knew I was doing something wrong.
There's the secret. There's the secret. Right there.
I need to ask Sammy for strategies more often, you know?
I got you, Wayne.
I appreciate that. All right. Let's rank it then, because, you know, I think we talked about pretty much everything. Again, there's really not much to it. Unfortunately, none of us, I guess, played it mano-y-mano, so we might be missing its appeal there. But as a single-player game, there just really isn't much to it. Yeah. So where are you guys thinking for this one?
For me, I'm going to stick with what where I originally had it placed, as I've thought about it a little bit more. And I would personally place it between Gyromite and Wild Gunman. To me, you know, Wild Gunman was a tough one anyway. This is kind of similar in that sense. I kind of group both of those games in that same category of they're very basic on the surface and there's not much to them. But I certainly don't think that it doesn't belong down in Clue Land level.
No.
Ooh.
I'd be okay with putting it there. Gyromite, in between Gyromite and Wild Gunman.
Ooh, you're not going to like what I have to say about this.
If it's lower than Donkey Kong Jr. Math, disconnect the call right now.
It is not lower than Donkey Kong Jr. Math. I would actually put it between Donkey Kong Jr. and Clue Land. I just did not find any enjoyment of this game whatsoever.
You just want to bump DKJ back up the list.
No,
yeah, that's what he wants to do.
I just found this game so utterly boring that, I don't know, I'd rather play Donkey Kong Jr. Again, maybe it's just because I like Donkey Kong Jr.
At least you don't hide it. You're biased and you don't hide it. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's like me. I want to knock Ice Climber down the list, so we're kind of in.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm putting it out there.
All right, Sammy, what are you thinking?
This is really tough for me. Partly because I didn't play some of these games.
Right.
So it's definitely better than Clue Land. But so was my kidney stone.
God, that's bad.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I think that it's maybe below Ice Climber. I didn't play Gyromite or Wild Gunman, so I can't compare them, but somewhere in there.
And I'm sorry, Dan and Jerry, where did you guys say? Between Gyromite and Wild Gunman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's about where Sammy's saying about-ish, so that's where we'll put it.
Nice.
Your attempt to bump up DKJ fails.
So Urban Champion is number 10 out of 14. I don't know. Not a fan. But that's fine. Not all of us are going to be the fans of games that other people play. There are going to be games that I like that you guys don't, and vice versa.
Let's be honest, man. A lot of these black box games are going to be, they're just going to continue to fall. Let's be real.
That's the thing with black box is that a lot of these games, like, we all know what the gems are. The Mario Brothers, the Excite Bikes, the Duck Hunts, the Kung Fu's. All the other ones, no one talks about them for a reason, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just don't stack up to the test of time like the other games do. Like, there's a reason why people still play Mario Brothers. There's a reason why people still want to play Duck Hunt or Excite Bike. So, there is that. All right, last up on the list, unless anybody has anything else to say about Urban Champion.
I've got nothing.
Next up, believe it or not, the lone sports game for this episode, Volleyball. which was released in the US on March of 1987. It is one of the last of the black box games released for the system. So there's that. And it's a volleyball game. Very interesting volleyball game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to like this game.
Jerry, let's hear from you. I feel like you never go first.
Well, I mean, I just want to say I almost had a spike, but much like my Rocket League play, I whiffed spectacularly. So yeah, there was that.
I feel like every time I tried to spike, it just like flopped over.
Yeah, and honestly, I wrote in my notes like, I don't have much to say because, you know, it's volleyball. And personally, I like playing volleyball in person. But, you know, I kind of question, like, do I need to spend a little more time with this one in particular? But I struggled with it a little bit for sure. I mean, it played fine. I don't have anything negative to say about that, but it's volleyball, man, on the Nintendo. Not a terrible game. I was just bad at it. I was terrible. That's all I got to say about that. So yeah.
Say one thing here. I thought it was a terrible game. I thought this is one of the worst games I've ever played.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This game was booty.
I most of the times, anytime the other team hit the ball, I struggled to hit the ball.
Yeah, the whole trying to bounce the ball back and forth, it was more frustrating than it was fun.
Right.
And it made it, I felt like I was wasting my time because I couldn't figure it out.
Like I stopped going for spikes because it just never worked. I feel like if they would have put a simple indicator on where the ball would have landed, it would have helped the game tremendously. It wouldn't have helped the horrible hit detection, because I know there were times where right where the ball was landing, I hit A and the ball would just go flying past me. I'm just like, what just happened? I think I might have scored in like 4 or 5 games 3 points.
Dude, I don't think I scored a point.
I think I got one.
And the thing is, like, every time I tried to personally tried to spike the ball, it was blocked almost every time. And if it wasn't a blocked spike, it would just flop over. It would like just bounce off my net or the net or my side of the court.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I actually returned one spike. One.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even going to claim to know how I did it. I was just mashing the buttons, but I literally one time I returned a spike and the ball went up in the air and went out of bounds. So I still got screwed. But
my personal opinion is that I never felt like I had control of my players. No matter what I did, no matter where I moved my guys to, I just could not hit the ball. And that is a fundamental problem when you're playing volleyball.
Right.
That's how you play the game. You hit the ball.
Right.
Like, if I actually hit the ball, there was like a momentary pause because I was so stunned. Because I'm like, oh crap, the ball's actually in the air yet. The round's not over. Like, I had maybe 1 or 2 good volleys, and that was it. And this one for me was a real struggle. Sammy, what are you thinking on this one?
I think that it would be more aptly named Volleyball, as it was one disastrous attempt after another. I'm not sure I ever even hit the ball.
It was tough. I understand that one and I tried. I really tried. Like, there'd be times where I'd have a half an hour before work. I'm like, all right, let me boot the game up. Let me see if I can do anything. Nope, not happening.
And I gave this thing like 20 minutes. You're out here like keep trying, and I'm like, nah.
I did. I really did. And the funny thing is, when I was looking at the manual, allegedly the different teams have different skill levels. I could not notice difference.
That's because they were all higher than yours.
Yeah, apparently. And let's talk about this. Why is everybody humping the air?
I wanted to ask it, but I didn't want to be inappropriate. But okay.
No. I have it as a note. That everybody is humping the air. I don't think that was the best idle animation that Nintendo could have came up with.
Agreed.
I was very confused when I saw that. I was like, are they doing what I think they're doing? That's an odd choice for what are they? And I was like watching it and I'm going, okay, maybe I'm just being like, I got to get my mind out of the gutter and let's look at this objectively. What could they possibly be doing here?
Not see it. You can't not see it.
Yeah.
And once you see it, you can't stop seeing it. You know.
Yep.
It's almost kind of distracting. Granted, there aren't a lot of volleyball games on the NES. There's only, I think, 2 more licensed ones. There's King of the Beach, which I've never played, and Super Spike Volleyball, which is one of the best sports games on the system. Maybe I'm just being biased here because it was one of the first games I ever owned. But like to me, that is such an improvement over this game. Granted, it wasn't developed by Nintendo, but like it just shows what volleyball could be on the system. This one, like, it was just too difficult. I guess we're just talking about difficult games today. But it was too difficult to actually being able to hit the ball. And if you can't hit the ball, you can't win games. If you can't win games, what's the point of playing it? You know?
Exactly.
Yep.
Not much else to say about that.
Yeah.
You summed it up perfectly.
Like, I can't say I've never been this frustrated playing a video game, but I haven't been this frustrated in a long time. Like, I almost threw a controller because I was getting that mad playing this game, and like I had to stop. Like, I wanted to do like a full 3-game set. Couldn't even make it that far. I would make it to the second set and just get angrier and angrier. And I'm like, this is one of the worst games I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
The control is just atrocious. The hit detection's awful. Just, again, a simple indicator for where the ball would be would just improve everything substantially. Then I could get over the fact that I couldn't hit the ball because I'd be laughing at everybody humping the air. You know?
Yeah.
I thought I was just
I
like
agree.
really, really bad at this game. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one. Because I was like afraid to come on here and be like, yeah, I sucked and I didn't even hardly score. I don't think I scored a point. And I'm like, man, everybody else is probably like, yeah, I won. No. I don't know I'm not the only one here.
When it comes to sports games, this might be one of the worst I've ever played. Like, I hate to say it because it is an early game, but I've played better NES sports games, like early NES sports games. Like, the little bit of golf that I played is much better than this.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's playable, you know?
So I think we have a question here.
Okay.
Where would you rank it?
Oh, we're segueing into it? You don't want to talk about it anymore.
I don't. I mean, you know, it's volleyball. It's primitive.
Yeah, it's as basic as you can really have it, to be honest with you.
You're not wrong. Are you asking me where I want to rank it?
Yeah. I'm asking you, Mr. Hostman, sir.
Do you really want me to tell you where I want to rank this?
Dude, if you put this where I think
I would rather play
Don't
Donkey
say
Kong
it.
Junior Math.
I'm out of here. I'll see you boys later.
Yeah, I'm off this project, man. We're done.
There's in no way, shape, or form.
At least Donkey Kong Junior Math is playable. You don't want to play it, but I don't want to play this either. At least when I press a button on Donkey Kong Junior Math, it does something.
Man, I had respect for you.
I hit the button, and the ball goes right past me. I know you guys aren't going to agree with me, and that's fine. We're all entitled to our opinions. But me personally, I say this is the worst game we've played yet.
You are so fired up and passionate about this.
100% am I fired up about this. Again, this is one of the worst games I've ever played.
I'd put this above Donkey Kong Jr.
Jeez. You just want to have me have a heart attack, don't you?
Man, I don't think I've ever heard your voice go that high where it just went right now. You're that.
I am very passionate about my games that I play. And if I cannot even control the characters, that's one of the biggest faults I can put against the game. At least Donkey Kong Jr. Math, I had control. You know, even for Donkey Kong Jr., I could control Donkey Kong Jr. If I tell him to jump, he's gonna jump.
Do you
There
hear
might be a
yourself?
couple laggy areas, like in the top of the first stage where you get to the very end and you're trying to jump and he doesn't jump, but at least he's trying. Here, I don't even think they're trying. They're too busy trying to hump the air to worry about hitting the stupid ball.
Do you hear yourself right now?
I 100% don't because I'm talking angrily.
You're defending DKJ math.
Sometimes the truth hurts.
You boys,
and it hurt me to play this game.
You're being a little That's a little drastic, bro.
Yeah, it's a little drastic.
Come on, man. Come on.
All right,
Sammy's the theater guy here, and you're being way more dramatic than he would probably ever be on stage. Come on.
I'm actually going to be nominating Wayne for an award.
Yeah,
I agree.
Wow. Yeah, see, that's high praise right there, coming from that guy.
I'm still waiting to hear what you guys got to say, other than above Donkey Kong Jr. because everybody craps on Donkey Kong Jr.
I'm a little insulted by that comment. I was actually going to place it between. I struggled with this because I was looking at it between Donkey Kong Jr. and Clu Clu Land, or ranking it right below Clu Clu Land. And I'm really I'm not 100% now. Like, I'm really rethinking. If I had to compare Clu Clu Land and Volleyball, despite the struggles of Volleyball and the frustration, I would still put it right above Clu Clu Land.
Really?
I would agree with that.
Really? Ooh.
I agree.
Oh, God. Oh, man, I just feel the bile coming up in my throat. But you guys have spoken.
Hey, at least we didn't rank it above DKJ, man. Come on. This pains you, doesn't it?
It 100% does. Because it's fundamentally, it's broken. But I get it. I'm the oddball out here.
Clu Clu Land feels broken,
I got
dude.
outvoted again. Yeah, but Clu Clu Land, I felt like I could play. If I really set my mind to it, you at least have semi-control over it.
Sure, you feel like you can play that. I'm telling you, I had easier time playing Volleyball than I did Clu Clu Land. That's just me. That's the difference. And I feel like everybody else here feels the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You defended DKJ math. I am not going to let you live this down either.
That's fine. And I will stick to my guns on this one. But Volleyball is ranked number 13 out of 15. So, oh man. We played some very ugly games today.
This was a rough
Gumshoe actually did okay. Difficulty aside, Gumshoe's a pretty good game. The other two, I don't know. I'm just not a fan. But again, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. And as always, feel free to comment on the video to let us know what you think of these three games.
Yeah, for sure. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
And give it a thumbs up.
Glad I don't have to say that.
And let us know if what your thoughts are on the current rankings as they stand right now.
Yes. And let me know if you have a trick for Volleyball. And let me know if you would stick Volleyball underneath Donkey Kong Jr. Math.
Did you? I
might be the only one.
Since we're at 50.
And let us know how dramatic Wayne was today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How dramatic was I on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, really. Jeez, man. Since we have 15 on the list, Wayne, did you want to just recap them again?
Yeah, I guess I can recap them. In order from worst to best, number 15, Donkey Kong Jr. Math, 14, Clu Clu Land, 13, Volleyball, 12, Donkey Kong Jr., 11, Wild Gunman, 10, Urban Champion, 9, Gyromite, 8, Ice Climber, 7, Gumshoe, 6, Wrecking Crew, 5, Popeye, 4, Duck Hunt, 3, Pinball, 2, Excite Bike, and 1, Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, that's not leaving this number one spot for quite some time.
Yeah. So, episode 6, those games have been pulled as I do, and we always use a random number generator for this. So, there's that. Episode 6 will be golf, tennis, and Donkey Kong, the OG Donkey Kong.
I'm not gonna lie, this sounds like another rough week ahead.
Yeah,
you guys seem to hate Donkey Kong Jr., so I'm curious to see what you think about Donkey Kong Sr. Just saying.
Man, Donkey Kong Jr. is at spot 12, so that's not terrible.
How is that not
Yeah,
terrible?
it's not like it's in last.
I mean, it's not.
It's in
place.
It's like in the bottom quarter of.
Sacrifices have to be made, Wayne.
Yeah, clearly. But
Begrudgingly.
thanks everybody for listening / watching. Thank you, Dan, Sammy, and Jerry for joining me. Although
Thanks for having me.
you didn't because you know Donkey Kong Jr. math and volleyball.
Man, you gotta settle down, bro.
I'm telling you.
But in all seriousness, can't do this without you guys. I appreciate everybody's opinion. As we always know, that everybody's going to have different thoughts on games, different preferences on games to play. There will not always be times where we see eye to eye, and that's what makes it fun.
That's right.
Whether you're all wrong or not.
Wow! Wow!
I knew he couldn't just leave it on a positive note. He had to throw a little pee-pee shot in there.
I know, and he's like, "I value all your opinions." Yeah, okay.
Hey, you know what they say about opinions?
Yeah.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and they all stink.
I like that.
Very, very true. But yeah, thanks guys again. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, happy fragging.